This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
You've seen and read my 3 Pillars ebook, and now I'm proud to announce my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship, and it's now out and ready for reading. This new book of mine is a full-length version of the teachings of the 3 Pillars, and in it I show you how to walk in the integrity of eternal and universal laws, in step with the law of attraction to consistently create the life you desire. Now, if you've ever wondered just why you can't consistently manifest all the good, loving, abundant, healthy, and happy things you desire, my new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, will reveal the key in how to do just that. Plus, help you build a rock-solid personal foundation that will stand strong for the ages. Get your copy today. My new book, True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction, a beautiful symbiotic relationship by Carl Gruber. Available now in ebook and paperback on Amazon.com. Hey everybody, Carl and Eleni here from the Power of 8. We are the administrators of this beautiful group growing with almost 1,400 members from around the world. And we felt that it is very, very important that we come together and give you this message of hope and healing and love and truth, because this group is all a sacred place of healing. And as I mentioned in a little comment I did on the page a while ago, there's very, very few spaces like this Power of 8 group that you can come to where there's non-judgment, there's only unconditional love, and it's all about healing, whether it's be a person or a place or a thing. This is what we are, and we are a sacred space of healing. And I'm so blessed to have my colleague Eleni Yambalis here, and it's been the best thing that we had adding her a few months ago. And Eleni, I know you have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, I thank you, Carl. Thank you for the beautiful introduction as well. I love this group, and I just want to start by saying I love this group, and being part of this group is truly an answer to my daily prayers. And anyone who attends any session with me, I say this all the time, that we get to choose the world which we see, right? We get to choose the world that we exist in. And every day I ask to express harmony, love, peace. And I ask to see it in the world around me. I ask to see it in my brothers and sisters. And this space is where I get to see it. In this space, I see people from all over the world showing up for each other. They don't even know each other, tithing their most precious resource, their energy, their creative powers, expecting the best for each other. You get what you expect at a vibrational level. It's physics and it's spirituality. And in this place is where we get to experience that. And I love how, Carl, you address that this is a judgment-free place. Because judgment, right? When we think of the energy of judgment, it's counter to harmonious existence, right? When we're judging each other, and I respect that we have beliefs that we are solid in, and we like to feel heard, and we like to voice those things. But this is the place of healing. This is the place of light, and not the best place for personal beliefs to really be put out there. Here we're about grounding love. We're about grounding love. And it's like the magic of Lynn McTaggart and her discoveries, right? How the participants, the people who were showing up and focusing on the well-being of another individual, they were experiencing miracles. They were experiencing turnarounds in their own lives, as well as the subject. We're literally in this space when we show up here, even when we come on here to wish each other well through typing or just saying hello and sharing our progresses and such. We're grounding that energy down for the rest of the planet. And I really feel like, if we want to help people, we want to help humanity, be the vessel that pulls what is needed down, which is love, which is tolerance and kindness and healing and miracles.
And Lenny, I'm so glad that you mentioned miracles, because this is a group, a place where you can come and expect miracles. You and I both say that in our daily lives, expect miracles. And people have heard me say over and over the quote from A Course in Miracles: there is no order of difficulty in miracles. And Eleni and I have both witnessed miracles of healing on this page. And I know Eleni, especially in so many aspects of her life, in her own life, she's experienced miracles. Come to this group from no matter where you are, different religion, different culture, different country, different time zone. It doesn't matter. Come to this page. Expect miracles of healing.
Yes. It's like you get what you expect. So we expect the miracles. Miracles are normal. And I love, it's when we create a space like this, I believe that we are at a place now where there are, you were mentioning right before we got on this call, close to 1,400 of us coming together, expecting miracles, understanding the power of our ability to create and ability to ground this energy down. And we're seeing the fruition. We're seeing it happen in our participants. We're seeing cancer disappear instantly. We're seeing people waking up from comas completely like nothing happened, walking around the hospital. Doctors are baffled, right? We get to choose what happens in our story. And in my story, each and every one of you experience the miracles that you seek. And I know that that's, a big mission for everyone who chooses to be in this space, to be part of that energy, to be part of that creative process. And it's so amazing to be here, right?
Well, and I have planet Earth behind me because, as we know, planet Earth has been in constant chaos and attack and lack for the entire history of humanity. And now we see everything on TV and on the internet. But again, that's why I emphasize, come here as a place of refuge, of non-judgment and love. And Eleni and I hold that space for you. And when we come together, oh my gosh, the power of us joining together energetically, it's incredible. It really is. And it's all right here.
Yeah, it is. And, it's like also just a bit of a feedback. It's, take into consideration when we're putting these things up, putting up posts about, our viewpoints and such. When people read things, they have a spark of vibration that comes off of them. And if that spark of vibration is anger or frustration, if it's anything other than peace and unconditional love, that vibration has just gone out into the ethers. It's just gone out. Now it's an attracting point. Mother Earth, who's been feeling the effects of humanity for eons, right? Like she needs us to be grounding that earth, to be grounding that energy, grounding that harmony, grounding that love, like be that vessel. You're like the tube of they're like the cell phone charger cord, right? Between the power source and the phone, like the phone being the earth, like we're like pulling it down for her, pulling down this energy for everyone to access. Because when we create a stronger pull together as people, when we're putting out vibrations of love and peace and miracles, and we're in the magic of life, and we're putting those out, we make it easier for those who really need it to access. Because we flip the polarity, right? The energy coming out of us is on the higher spectrum. And so it's easier to access for those who need it.
And I just want to emphasize, the people who have joined us for healing sessions, and we've done hundreds of them in the last almost 3 years. Eleni's mode of operation and mine are very different, but the source, the healing source from unconditional love and unity for all the people of the world and Mother Earth itself is the same. The energy is here, and we thank you. Thank each and every one of you for being here, and thank you, Eleni, for being here.
Oh, thank you, Carl. I mean, none of this would be possible if you didn't get this divine inspired idea to create this group, right? And it's been my honor to be here with you. It's probably close to a year at this point. Just getting to, like, I get to bear witness to this. Like, I get to see this. I get to do this. We all get to do this, my friends. We get to do this. We get to come into this space that is just so loving. So, you know, as the sessions continue, just come with that energy to this space. Share your joys, share your light, because again, you know, Mother Earth, the humanity, we all need it, and we all benefit from it.
Yeah, well said, Eleni. Everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us and watch us. We love you so much. Namaste, all of our friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, so it is.
Hey, since June 2018, the show World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment, has taken a deep dive on a weekly basis, exploring all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening. And today's show, of course, is no exception. So welcome to the show. I'm your host, Carl Gruber. And yes, we have yet another incredible guest, but before we head off to meet her, I'd like to remind you that not only can you watch this show on YouTube, but you can also now watch it on the brand new TV network, New Reality TV. Just scan the QR code you now see on the screen, or simply click the link below in the show notes to find out how you can watch New Reality TV. All right, let's find out about our guests for this week. Here on episode number 211 of World Awakenings, we have the honor of once again having Dr. Mary Sanders back on the show. This is her second visit. She is a medical intuitive and a doctor of chiropractic. She also has a certification in positive psychology from Whole Being Institute. Plus, she has a master's degree in intuition medicine from the Academy of Intuition Medicine. I like that, and I definitely want to find out more about that. On top of that, Dr. Mary has lived her whole life with a 50% hearing loss, and she knew by age 3 that her purpose was to have her hands on people, which helped her to develop a keen sense of psychometry and clairsentience in early childhood. That's pretty cool at the age of 3. And she is also the host of her own popular podcast called Energy Medicine with Dr. Mary Sanders. And with that, welcome back once again to World Awakenings, Dr. Mary.
Oh, Carl, thank you so much. It's such an honor to share space and time and energy with you and your audience today. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it is exciting because I really did enjoy our first chat. Gosh, that was about 8 months ago. And I thought we could revisit some things and find out a little bit more about all the cool stuff you do. First of all, let's revisit where you're coming from as a very young child who knew she had these unique gifts such as psychometry and clairsentience. What's the earliest thing you remember about this?
Goodness, that's a legitimate question, Carl. First, I want to circle back to your idea that you and I could probably have a conversation, a two-way conversation that lasted a good 24 hours. I think that we have such a wide variety of topics that we align with. So again, you know, it's my honor to be here. I love your question about the development of clairsentience and psychometry at a young age. You know, my earliest memory, there's a couple of early ones that I remember. I remember using the sandbox and falling asleep in the sandbox as a resource. Like I knew that I was taking a nap, but I knew on some level that I was doing more than just napping. When I was connected with the earth and connected with the sand and the heat and the environment and the outdoors and all that good stuff. So little did I know that my affinity for grounding and earthing was going to be part of my life as I grew older. But I believe that that was my ability to resource energy and to release all that which was no longer serving me. Obviously, as a very empathic small person, you know, consciously or subconsciously, you're picking up the energy of the environment, and it's probably a lot for a small person to process. So the fact that I intuitively knew that if I laid down on the earth that I was going to be able to resource myself, I think is pretty cool. So that's one of my first memories, sleeping in the sandbox. But when I knew I became clairsentient, and again, this probably was at the age of 4. I may have shared this with you before, but I was raised in a Catholic environment. I was the youngest of 3 daughters, 3 girls, and I would position myself. We would go to Saturday night mass at 5 o'clock every Saturday, and I would position myself between my mother and my father. And so my favorite thing to do was to hold their hand. And clearly being hearing impaired, and this was before, maybe just right after they understood that I couldn't hear, but before I got my hearing aid, I literally would play the game and entertain myself by zapping my mother's energy, literally, as she's standing on the right side of me through my right hand. And I remember circulating it through my body and then exiting it out my left hand into my dad. And then what I would do is I would zap my dad's energy through my left hand, run it up my left arm through my body, and then out my right hand into my mom's hand. And I would play that game for however long we stood in the pew. I mean, obviously, I didn't know the guy in the big long cloak was, sharing a story. So I entertained myself in other ways. So that's an early, distinct memory that clearly I didn't know or know how to define psychometry at that time. But I definitely was running energy and utilizing my hands to do so.
Wow, a 3-year-old zapping her parents with her bodily energy. That's pretty wild. So, it's interesting. You were talking about as a little 3-year-old falling asleep in the sandbox and connecting with the earth. Well, I find that interesting because I just downloaded from your website 3 free meditations, and one of them was about connecting to the earth and feeling it. And yeah, so you were using your experience, and it was interesting to do that too. I encourage people to go to drmarysanders.com and do that.
Oh, thank you for that. I honestly that's one of my favorite things to do. In fact, tomorrow's Friday, and I don't typically treat patients on Friday. So my husband and I will be on a trail here in Boulder, probably by about 6 o'clock in the morning. And I hike this trail specifically, Carl. It's Lion's Lair, the name of the trail. I hike it because at the top is this beautiful outcropping of the mountain, and it's a flat slate rock. And so I go off the trail and I lay down on this slate rock. And that's, how I am soaking up. That's how I get my greatest skin to skin contact with the earth these days. So I don't always have that access. And so I know that, energy follows thoughts and intentions and visualizations. And the more creative you can be in your visualizations, the more impactful your meditations or your energy exchange will be. So I created the earthing, or the earth sync meditation as it's specifically called, in order to establish that exchange energetically with the Schumann's resonance of the earth. So when I can't get out to the mountain and lay on that slate rock cropping, that's the meditation that I personally do.
It's many meditations I've used and heard over the years. They actually have you visualize a grounding cord coming out of your spine and going down to the center of the earth. And so it's almost always, many of them, they want you to connect to Mother Earth.
hmm This is not a new concept. This has been a concept that has been around for many, many years. In traditional Chinese medicine, the whole philosophy was you can cure almost anything if you go barefoot, for 20 minutes a day. So, earthing and grounding is not anything new. And having grounding anchor points, I think, is a very effective visualization. So, I always promote the idea of having four grounding anchor points coming from the soles of the feet
Mm.
and creating a two-way exchange with the earth. Then also coming from the pelvic bowl so that I can ground out any emotions in present time. And then the cranium, the brain itself, so I can ground down any looping thoughts. And then the outside of my biofield so I can create a container for my energy system. So in the grounding meditation, I believe we talk about those four anchor points so that we encourage people to really tether into the frequency, to the best of their ability.
I find that interesting about the Chinese say that anything can be cured by walking barefoot 20 minutes. I rarely ever walk barefoot because I have pancake flat feet, and if I don't have some kind of support underneath, but geez, maybe I can fix a couple things if I walk barefoot a little bit more.
You know what? Here's the scoop. Our feet change as we age, and obviously, with your 40 plus years of running, I can appreciate the impact that your feet have received over the years. But even, Carl, if you found a beautiful place out in nature, took your shoes and socks off, and just put the soles of your feet on the earth, you would get that exchange.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, even I think that's one of the first things we learn as kids: running barefoot in the backyard in the grass, and it's such a delight. Yeah, maybe I can connect to the inner Carl if I do that. Well, and again, many of these things that we're going to talk here, we probably discussed on the first show when you were on the show before. But of course, I'm sure a lot of people are curious to explain how it came about that you have a 50% hearing loss. I mean, did it take a while before your parents realized it?
I think I was three going on four. I know that, so that four is when, an old 4-year-old is in elementary school, is in kindergarten. I think that that's right about the time that I was diagnosed. I think the teacher noticed that there was some deficiency. I think my mom had a couple of life experiences where she was yelling at me from behind and I didn't respond. So I think that they knew that something wasn't right. They just didn't know the capacity in which the loss of the hearing was. And thankfully now, Carl, I mean, you can test hearing abilities in newborns. We have that technology, so it doesn't go undetected these days. But we're talking about, the late 60s. So times have changed, and that's how it went undiagnosed.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, so basically, you were just born with hearing loss.
I'd like to think that I made the conscious choice to come into this lifetime without the hearing for whatever reasons. Okay, now I have learned a few of those reasons, and I'm sure more reasons will be about revealed as time goes on as well. And quite honestly, Carl, if somebody said, "Hey, Mary, I have that magic wand, and I'm gonna wave it over you, and you're gonna have 100% full capacity of your hearing," I would probably deny that opportunity. And at this phase in my life, it would be a sensory overload that I'm not sure I would know what to do, energetically and physically with that overload.
Yeah, Harry Potter will show up with his magic wand. Let me wave this. No, sorry, Harry.
Thank you, but no thank you. I appreciate the good intention.
Well, let's talk more about what Dr. Mary Sanders does. You have a mission statement on your website that says empowering spiritual women with the tools of energy medicine to align with their true self. Can you talk more about this?
Yeah, and again, I know that that's a mouthful, okay? And quite honestly, when we think about the magnitude of what that mission is, it really is quite dense. It's quite dense in that the intention is to really create space and to create tools in which a person can reclaim their true essence and be full of themselves 100%. And that's a pretty big ticket order. The big ticket order, in my opinion, but that's my true north. That's why, I was born on this earth in order to help people heal and transform. And so that's why I do what it is that I do. And quite honestly, I want people to be empowered to be able to have the tools themselves, opposed to depending on a practitioner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really great concept. It's interesting too, as it says, to align women with their true self. And you know this well. Unfortunately, most of the people in the world have no idea who or what their true self is.
That's so true. One of the questions that I ask in helping people understand and to diagnose their second energy center is connecting people with their deepest desires. Like when I ask somebody, what do you desire most? That most people don't have an answer to that. There's a disconnect. There's a pause. Can I get back to you in a couple of days? And then, they think about it for a while to really kind of identify what do they desire.
And I agree with you. Doing some life coaching over the years myself, and I have found when you put an individual's personal power in their lap, and they're not used to even realizing they have the power to create this life and what they want, you're exactly right. They're kind of taken aback. Let me think about that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So true.
Yeah, interesting. Well, and so since you work with women, what are some of the most common issues women come to you with that they need help with?
Yeah. And, I just want to, say out loud that I still treat men. I love working with men, but I can affiliate, with shared life experiences, I resonate more with women. That's all. Okay. But I still support men in my practice as well. But some of the most common issues that I see revolve around the lower three energy centers.
Mm.
The first energy center, it prohibits most individuals, women specifically, it prevents them from truly trusting that there's a force greater than themselves and outside of themselves. That's a big trust issue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's common. The second thing is for women, I see a lot of women who subconsciously choose to carry the energy of other people within their second energy center. And they think that they're doing the other person a favor because, if I can carry your pain and you don't have pain, then everything's good, right? But what ends up happening is that you rob the other person of their own healing journey. And so women classically hold other people's energies within their second energy center, which dampens their creativity and connection to their deepest desires. So that's something I see frequently. And then oftentimes in the third energy center, I find that women typically have been influenced or conditioned by the environment or their surroundings or their people in their lives that compromises their self-worth or their self-confidence. And so those, I would say, are the top three elements that I see in the practice. And that can cause a whole multitude of physical issues connected to it.
And you talk about women holding on to the energy of the people around them. I mean, women in particular seem to be quite empathic, and empaths absorb other people's energy. And I know that myself am fairly empathic. And one of my guests recently told me, he said, Carl, if you do that, you have to stop, go in the bathroom or something, or if you're in a public place, and just stop and just give it back. First of all, bring your own energy back, and then release the negative, disempowering energy you've absorbed from other people and places and things. And if you don't do that, you get home and geez, I got to lay down for an hour, or worse,
That's so true, and that's great advice that that person gave to you. And you talked about the meditations that people can download from my website free of charge. One of those meditations is called detached alignment, and it's specifically about learning how to gift back the energy that you've shared with other people, whether it be positive and or negative energy. Okay. So if you're holding on to somebody else's energy, it compromises your life force energy and compromises your ability to be full of yourself. And so that's what makes it so exhausting for people.
Mhm.
So that's just a second meditation. It's a common meditation that I support people with.
So I'm curious, so let's say I've gone off for a couple minutes just to do that. And when I say universe, give me back all my energy I gave away and let me really, I mean, what's really going on? Is the universe actually hearing me talk to her? Is it feeling my energy, hearing my heart talking?
Well, the way that I train or teach people is to create an energetic stream between the palms of my hand into the auric field of the other person. So there is a stream of energy that gets transferred to and from. So there's a visualization of an exchange or a retrieval of the energy that rightfully belongs to you. And then the other part of that meditation is the visualization of severing that energetic stream so that there are no energetic connections between these two people or two places or two things. And so that helps to neutrally detach or detached alignments that you can come back to self.
Well, that's really great advice. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. You describe yourself as a medical intuitive. Is this what you call intuition medicine? And do you actually have the ability to see a physical problem someone has and heal it?
Well, that's a great question, and I have to share with you that yes, I am clairvoyant. That is one of my superpowers, but more so, I'm more clairsentient. And so when I'm holding space for another person in a sacred environment, I literally will feel what's going on. It guides me, their spirit guides it within my physical body. And so what ends up happening is that it starts to unravel any pain patterns, unravel energetic dis-ease, unravel organic pathology. Okay. So have I had the fortunate opportunity to hold space for those people that that have illnesses and to help overcome those illnesses? I have. And so but do I say I am healing them? No, they are healing themselves. I am a facilitator that holds the sacred space for the healing.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that because I'm in quite an agreement that we actually heal ourselves. One of my favorite lines is heal yourself and the world's healed with you.
That's a beautiful statement. Do you know who said that?
Me?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
well, I'm sure somebody else. I just thought that I have a Power of Eight healing group that I facilitate on Facebook that has over 2,000 people from around the world, based on Lynn McTaggart's book, The Power of Eight. And so we do weekly healing sessions. But I'm sure I picked that up somewhere along the line. But it is true. Heal yourself, and the world is healed with you. And speaking of that, of more healing. Tell us about this ability you have to put hands on someone and sense what is going on with them in their body. Is that one of the reasons you became a chiropractor?
Well, that's yes. Initially, yes, to answer your question directly. I knew, and again, this many of the listeners out there, I knew, I just intuitively knew that I was destined to have my hands on people at a very young age. And so, at the time that I was zapping my parents' energy, couldn't get enough, I couldn't get my hands on enough physical bodies. I love teaching. I love touching people. And so I knew that I was going to that was going to be my profession. Both my parents were educators, and it was never a question as to whether or not we were going to go to college. That was something that was just a given. It was a hard fact. And so we went to college, and I knew that by the time I got into college, I was like, okay, it's either going to be a physical therapist or it's going to be a chiropractor. So I thought, originally it was going to be physical therapy, and then due to life experiences, I chose to be more in a wellness-based environment. So that's what took me down the chiropractic route. And then when I arrived in chiropractic school, Carl, for the first time in my life, I really was connected to my tribe. The people there were asking me, well, what do you feel? What do you feel? And I'm like, somebody's asking me what I feel. Well, let me tell you what I feel. I feel this, I feel that. And then they're like, okay, that's good information. Let's expand upon that.
Yeah, very very cool. I love when I go to my chiropractor. The way you guys do. They're talking like casual, all conversation. All of a sudden, you sneak up on them.
I never want to sneak up on anybody. I want to have
It
consent
almost
for all the,
yeah.
yeah,
But and I think probably part of that is because most people will build fear and anxiety through anticipation. Oh, he's going to twist my neck, so or what.
yeah.
The other thing I'm really curious about, you have been called psychic. Is this just another part of your gifts, and how are you psychic?
Oh, wow. I'm not sure I can define how, but my access to direct information, um, and abstract information just flows through me. So, for example, I was holding space for a client earlier this week, and I knew that there was a strong feminine presence that was amongst us, when we were in the session. And so it became very clear that it was her mother. And I got the image of somebody doing some kind of a needleworking, and I'm like, is your mom a knitter? Does she sew? Does she crochet? And she's like, oh yeah, she's an avid crocheter. And so that's the kind of information, abstract information that I would receive in holding space for another person. Some people call it psychic. It just seems to be information to me.
Very cool, very cool. And among all your talents and studies and everything, you've studied the relatively new field of positive psychology. Why did you choose this field to study? And I love that field of positive psych.
Yeah, there was a point in my career where I left and sold my practices in Colorado Springs, and my husband and I moved to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And
Whoa,
I went through a very big kind of existential crisis. Like I really didn't know who I was, who was I outside of the brick and mortar practice that I had surrounded myself for over 22 years. And at that time, I had time on my hands, and I started to reflect on the patients that I had seen over the years. And I had a large, large percentage of people that responded favorably to care. And then I had a percentage of patients would not respond to whatever modality, whatever approach that I tried. I never could understand it because other people did so well, and why didn't other people do not so well? And so that was one thing that I learned under Dr. Taubin Shahar. But what motivated me to attend the positive psychology is that I acknowledged at that point in my professional career that I knew the human body exceptionally well from the brain stem down. From the neck on down, I knew the body. I knew the tissues, I knew the organs, I knew the muscles, I knew everything about the joints. So, what was happening in the space between the ears? And it was at that time that, Carl, I was actively meditating and having some really kind of out there experiences, and wanted to better understand what happens when you meditate. And Dr. Taubin Shahar was one of the first people who was really teaching the neuroscience behind meditation. So that's what intrigued me, okay, coupled with wanting to better understand why some people thrive and some people don't. And that's what motivated me to want to learn more about the field of positive psychology.
And it's interesting. If we go all the way back in the field of positivity, I started way back when with the founder, the grandfather of a Dr. Norman Vincent Peale with the power of positive thinking. And then my understanding, I don't have a degree in psychology, but my understanding is it took the traditional psychology field a long time to see some merit in positivity. And then people like Dr. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi and Dr. Martin Seligman came along and pretty much made it respectable, and people like you are out there practicing it.
Yeah, I have much gratitude. May Csikszentmihalyi, may he rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
And may Dr. Martin Seligman continue to make such a positive impact.
Yeah, just two giants of the field, and our gentleman, the Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, he with a long Polish name, he wrote the book Flow, which is one of my favorite. We'll let people look into that. But another thing, you have in large text right at the top of your website pages that say, "What if living a life filled with happiness, health, and purpose didn't have to be so hard?" Why is it that we humans do make this so hard?
I think that's a conditioned response that society places upon us. I think it's unfortunate, but I do think that when we begin to unravel and unlayer our little onion in our container, that we can shed some of that stuff and step into our essence once again. There's that word.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We live in this ego-driven world, and it's definitely conditioned. We get all of the positivity and things pounded out of us before we become adults. I understand that you do a lot of yoga, and in combination with your meditation, of course, big parts of your life. So, what aspect would you say practicing yoga and meditation have had on your understanding and practice of spirituality?
Wow. My understanding of spirituality, I would say that my yoga practice, first and foremost, I've been practicing for over 30 years. And so I was on my mat this morning after my morning meditation. It's part of my daily routine. And it's a time in which I go first thing in the morning, and I like it because the lights are dimmed and the shades are still shut, and it's pretty dark in the room, and I can still have my awareness. I'm not focused on the exterior, I'm focused on the interior. So there's an internal awareness, and it allows me to connect my breath and my body, and it allows me to become more in tune with my biofield and then into the quantum field.
Hmm.
So when you say spirituality, it's my ability to connect into something that exists, that is outside of me and much greater than me. And for my awareness, that's the quantum field that surrounds all of us and that all of us have access to. So over the years, I would say that my practice is metamorphosized so that it enhances my connection to all that is.
And you mentioned the quantum field. Boy, I'm sure my listeners and viewers have heard that a lot. But, if you don't know what it is, check it out because we exist in the quantum field.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
There's
Also, too, you write and speak a lot about the chakras of the human body. Let's assume that there are some of our listeners and viewers who have no idea what chakras are. Can you explain the body's chakra system?
I sure can. The chakra system again, it's nothing new. It's been around for many years, based out of the Vedic sciences. And what the chakra literally means in Sanskrit, a wheel or a circle. And so these wheels are called chakras. And within our physical body, there are 7 main chakras. And these energy centers have 3 primary responsibilities. Number one is to receive the information from the environment. Number two is to assimilate that information. And number three, it is to express our life force energy back out into our environment. So these little wheels of energy will take this information and process it. The beautiful thing about this, Carl, is that each energy center has its own theme, its own life theme, if you will. So there's an overarching emotional component. There is an associated endocrine gland. There's an associated nerve plexus. The unseen world of the biofield and the chakra system then becomes very tangible within the physical body.
Wow, yeah, very well explained. Yeah, it really is. When you start to think about it, it makes you understand some of the feelings and the energy movement in your body. So important. So, I wanted to go back for a moment on the meditation thing. Now, you said when you moved to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, you were having some pretty far out there experiences meditating. What were some of those experiences?
For the most part, when I was first learning how to meditate, I was having some out of body type stuff.
Oh,
So I just really was not grounded enough to stay within my human home. And so, I was having some of these wonderful, spiritual experiences. And again, now in holding space for other people, I would say to myself back then that I was just doing kind of this spiritual bypass. I was bypassing my physical body. So I'm thankful that I could better understand the neurology of what was happening, the neuroscience behind meditation, so I can bring it back to the physical body, and so that I am more grounded, more present, and more at home in my human home when I meditate now.
yeah, for me personally, and I'm sure my viewers and listeners have heard me say, I have never really been good at meditation, but I'm thinking I'm trying to get better at it. And I just had Baba Sam Shelley on, and he really talks a lot about meditation, and he calls it the brain trash, or for me, monkey mind. Trying to quiet that monkey mind down, and some of your meditations, like I listen to, that they really do help.
No, thank you for that. A couple of different things, and that is, I had two thoughts. The one thing you were talking about, the monkey mind. Again, the objective of a meditation is not to silence your brain. We want to calm it down, but we want to observe from a neutral place where your mind goes. What's pulling the attention away from present time, and that's valuable information. And even though, Carl, you say, hey, I've never really been good at meditation, and there are people that have that belief system that they can't quiet themselves down long enough to sit for 5, 10, heaven forbid, 45, 55 minutes. And my guess is that your running over the years was a form of
Oh,
meditation.
absolutely. You nailed it. Yes, absolutely.
So movement and meditation can happen. And just like you experience with running, some people may experience it with walking, or maybe they experience it in Tai Chi or Qigong, or maybe somebody's painting and that's their form of meditation.
Boy, yeah, I'm really glad you pointed that out. Yeah, I've even talked about that because I've never worn earbuds when I'm running, because it always really has been my meditative time of the day. I'd be running along and say, "Morning trees, oh, hello, beautiful flowers, and look at those birds over there," and solving all my personal problems, or just really, in the running world, they call it the runner's high. It doesn't always happen, but you're just kind of like, no thoughts, nothing. There have been times late in a marathon, like at mile 23 or 24. Honestly, I feel like a passenger in a car observing things going by. It's like, really, it's like I'm in a body, but I'm not.
And those are priceless experiences. So, again, I would just, choose, consider different verbiage when you say, meditations, moving meditation's really easy for you.
Yeah. I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm so silly. Why did I think I was a bad meditator? Well, one of the common themes here on this show, World Awakenings, that many of my guests have talked about the human race and Earth being on the cusp of a major transition or ascension. What are your thoughts about this?
I think things are moving fast. That's all I have to say.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I think things are moving fast for the world at large and for humanity. I think that there is a palpable shift that's happening within the collective field. I don't know how to necessarily put a name to it, but I believe that those people that are in this, I'm going to say the industry, or some people would even say those that are light workers or those that are looking to help the collective raise their consciousness. It's happening. There is a shift happening. Again, and it's happening fast. I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, and it's very interesting. I've had a number of channels on here, and they channel galactic beings and angelic beings, and what they talk about is the human race is shifting from carbon-based to crystalline and moving into the fifth D and the sixth D, which is hard to visualize. But when you look at what, and people like you are at the forefront of helping this transition and ascension.
Well, when you talk about the crystalline and you think about the structures within the DNA and you think about the coherence that can happen within various different organs within the body, and you think about quantum biology and quantum neurology, that just tells us that. For me, when I hear you say that being reported by people that are channeling, that I hear that we're moving more into the connecting into the quantum dimension.
Yeah, very, very interesting. We are talking to the amazing Dr. Mary Sanders. She does some incredibly beautiful, loving stuff, healthy, healing things. I'm really curious. Have you ever written a book, or do you plan to? You have so much to offer.
Oh, Carl, that is a hiccup, a hurdle, an insecurity, a block of mine. At this moment, I'm not currently writing, but who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you never know. I know you do have a blog on your website, so you do some writing.
I do, not as frequently as I would like to. But my mode of communication, as you mentioned, is the podcast. I spend a lot of time, like you, in communication with like beings, and that just lights my fire. You know how it is. We were talking about this before we got started. It just is. It's not even a labor of love. It is love. It
Mm-hmm.
is love. So communication styles right now, verbally, that's where I'm sitting. So I'm gonna make that connection into written communication someday.
Well, that sounds good. And let's actually talk more about your podcast. It's what Dr. Mary what is it again?
It's energy medicine, and the subtitle is Align Your Mind, Body, and Spirit. So I will pull credentialed practitioners on to the podcast so we can talk about transformational modalities that people can utilize for their healing journey. And if I'm not hosting a credential provider, then I'm doing solo cast. Maybe I'm educating them on various different energy medicine tools that they can incorporate into their world. It ranges, but that's what we talk about on the show. And I believe, Carl, I know you've been doing this for a little over 7 years. I think this January will mark the beginning of my fourth year. So I'm a newbie in comparison to you.
No. What you do is excellent and so much needed too. And of course, I will put the links to your podcast in your website into the show notes. And speaking of that, I see that you do not only one-on-one sessions with people, but you also do live and online workshops and retreats. Can you tell us about some of them?
I think that each individual, if you're looking for a new practitioner, has a threshold of the kind of contact that they want to have with them. So I offer various different services so that I can meet people, various different individuals, where they are on their healing journey, to support them, whether it be one-on-one services, whether it be a group environment, whether it be a group healing transmission or a class or a structured lecture type environment. So the offerings, they change. And so the website is the best avenue for better understanding the services. And, I'm going to share with you that I'm pretty excited, Carl. I'm in the process of adding in a piece of technology into my office and into my practice that actually measures the ionic transmission, the photonic light emission of the energy body, so that we can read the systems of the human body before symptoms appear. So that's something I'm pretty excited about implementing into the practice.
That sounds very, very cool. A few weeks ago, I had a gentleman on named Sean Callahan who actually sells medical equipment, but some of the stuff he's got in are actual med beds and things like what you're talking about, which is very cool too. So, wow, good for you.
Thanks.
That is great. And one last thing, did I see you have a retreat coming up?
I do. In Greece 2026, and I'll just share everybody. I just got back from being in Portugal for a week, and this time frame, and that's June of 2025 that we're in, and so the projection of the Greece retreat is in June of 2026, and it was super hot in Europe. The heat wave was overtaking, the tourists, and I'm hoping that, in June next year, June, it'll be a little bit cooler, and being on the water will be nice.
Yeah, I've never been to Greece, but I hear it's awesome. But Dr. Mary Sanders, what a honor to have you on the show again, a second time. I love what you do. You are changing the world and the people one by one in a beautiful, loving, healing manner, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And it's always, again, my honor. And Carl, you and I could talk for days. So, until our paths meet again, right?
I could see that. And well, folks, this podcast is 24 hours long today.
I wonder what the turnover rate, how long people would actually stay tuned. But if it's on TV like you're doing now with the new reality TV, I think they might stay to watch.
Well, that'd be great. So thank you again, Dr. Mary.
Thank you, Carl.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.